Yeah, so basically, right, this TV is crazy. It's in 4D. Hey, yo, Babe Station's gonna bang. I mean, the football, obviously, babe. See, I told you Babe Station would be better. Yo guys, it is your boy Newman here, and you are watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. But what's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, Twitter wasn't too pleased with ITV show This Morning, who created a spin the wheel game show for people's home bills. Next week we play Takeshi's Castle to see who gets electricity this winter. Please just help, I'm gonna die. Millions of people having to live in conditions that replicate a Samsung RB38 fridge is not really a laughing matter. You can't just be doing heat or no heat with people's lives. What box are you choosing, Phil? 17, please, no. Not the first time you're choosing 17, eh? On to the football though now, and it was a very, very normal week.
A liar, actress, go the fuck out.
It's come as a shock, but Chelsea have sacked their boss, Thomas Tuchel, after a poor start to the season, and it's come off the back of a surprise 1-0 defeat to Dynamo Zagreb on day 1 of the Champions League. It was, in fairness, a stinky Chelsea performance. Dynamo play Uber drivers domestically, and there's still a bigger challenge than the Blues here. Tuchel could be seen on the touchline searching for Wesley Fofana's receipt because the new centre-back got burnt for pace for Mislav Orzic's winner. He looked like he stopped downloading his pace at 37%. Fuck's sake, the electricity's gone off. It's just too expensive. Now, you see, that's where we come in. Oh, fuck off, Phil. Mason Mount provided a disaster class again. He's been playing like a 75 rated non-rare recently. He's going to be sent back on loan to Vitesse at this rate. Jules Koundé on Instagram was happy that he chose Barca instead. Meanwhile, it was a chance to see Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in a Chelsea shirt for the first time. His highlights, though, were not too great. He's waited so long, and finally he has the joy of hearing the Champions League anthem again, only to drop a Conference League performance. And he was so happy to link up with Tuchel again after the Borussia Dortmund days, yet one game later, and Thomas is gone. Their partnership was basically a free trial, for God's sake. Tuchel was not happy with Ted Bowley on the phone after he let Alba join.
I came with my friend, you're here telling me I should leave them. Don't you have manners?
The Chelsea chairman might as well get the Gabonese striker Paktan out of there as well. Is this guy Roman Abramovich in disguise? I knew his Wikipedia was looking suspicious. The guy's probably sacked Tuchel at half-time, and Thomas would have wanted a little bit more time after receiving his P45 down on the touchline 16 minutes in.
Hang on, let me finish.
Let's be real, he's been dealing with some shambolic performances from Conor Gallagher, so he's probably happy to get out of there. And he's never been the same since that Conte handshake. Antonio himself was loving this one.
Oh my God, I feel terrible. I feel terrible that I'm living in your head rent-free.
Other managers are baffled as well. Steven Gerrard will be ecstatic knowing he's lasted longer than the Chelsea boss, till he realises that he's still finished anyway. It wasn't a good start at all, obviously, but this seems very, very harsh. He's a Champions League winner at the club at the end of the day, and he only got 2 games after the transfer window. He's not even had time to let the team gel. It seems like Chelsea want Brighton boss Graham Potter. It'll be awkward for Cucurella seeing his former boss in training. Brighton, of course, won't want to let their boss go. They'll have to hide him in the house or something when Chelsea come knocking. They might as well hide him in the house somewhere. And it won't be the first time that Potter's been hidden away under the stairs. Potter! Elsewhere in the Champions League, though, and... yeah, no, I'm wrapping up the series here. You'll never see an FTW again. It was a quite abominable state of affairs. Liverpool were peppered by Napoli in our first game of the Champions League this season, losing 4-1 to the Italian side in the group stages.
Big man thing, yeah? It's not looking good, Bev.
This is categorically the worst I've ever seen Liverpool play in the first half. Joe Gomez is a war criminal, whether he has 0 knees to his name or not. Trent Alexander-Arnold was not responding well when Klopp asked him to defend anything whatsoever.
I don't give a f***. I didn't do shit.
The guy got rinsed by a Wi-Fi password, for God's sake. And it's easy to see just how poor we were, especially in the first half. These ratings are a tragedy. James Milner's on a 2.6. Remove the decimal point, and that was his age 38 years ago. Because I'm not gonna lie, this guy cannot be starting in the Champions League. Surely the rest of the coaches have got to be asking questions of Jurgen as to what he's learned about the incapabilities of James this season.
Summarize this book. What do you have to do? What did you learn from the book that you just read?
The first one is pretty good.
Is what?
Meanwhile, it's been a disastrous start to the season for us. Thomas Tuchel's going to be shocked when he sees Jurgen Klopp in the corridor at Job Centre.
Hello.
Hang on, mate.
Fancy seeing you here.
Our half-time team talk was just a bunch of medical equipment. Darwin Núñez is barely back from his anger management classes, and we're already in the mud. For Napoli, though, unbelievable performance from them. The likes of Kvaratskhelia, Zambo Anguissa, and Zielinski were incredible in this one. And it was a great moment for forward Giovanni Simeone, who grabbed his first goal and the third for Napoli on the night. He's got a Champions League tattoo on his arm that he's had since he was a child, and he vowed when he was young that he would kiss it the first time he scored a European goal, and tonight he honoured that agreement and did exactly that for his celebration. Paris Saint-Germain faced off against Juventus and put together a pretty convincing performance. 2-1 the final score there. Juventus simply could not be arsed when they saw PSG's front three coming towards them, and it's not surprising. Imagine seeing Mbappe on the touchline and in attack at the same time. Neymar, mate, you shit. This PSG steward couldn't believe his eyes either. There were interesting scenes in the tunnel as Lionel Messi checked out.
What the fucking hell's happening?
Leo is wild in here, bro. And Lionel Messi's in here. Poor Marco Verratti was getting it from all angles as well, getting slapped in the face during a celebration. At Tottenham, and they beat Marseille in their group stage opener. The most curious thing about this one, though, Joey Barton in the away end amongst the Marseille Ultras. The guy does one French accent and suddenly he thinks he's from there.
Maybe the one criticism of the French league is it's a little bit boring. You know,
there were wild scenes between Porto and Atletico Madrid, where the game ended 2-1 with all three goals coming in the 90th minute. Antoine Griezmann scored the all-important goal after being brought on 5 seconds after the 60th minute to once again keep in line with that 30-minute appearance clause he has in his contract. It's a shithousery award for Atleti. Meanwhile, Manchester City brushed aside Sevilla with a 4-0 win, and it was yet another brace for Erling Haaland. At this point, Kevin De Bruyne is just yamming it towards him and hoping for the best. Fuck it, he'll probably score from there. Sevilla tweeted out the attendance figures for this one, taking a sly dig at City for only bringing 700 fans. Meanwhile, they're planning to get slapped by just about enough that they can finish third in the group, enter the Europa League, and win it for a 37th time. Now, back in the Premier League though, and Arsenal have lost their 100% record after a 3-1 loss to United at Old Trafford. And it's a 4th straight win for Man U, which now sees them up to 5th in the table. Art really is imitating life here for Mikel Arteta. The fans were ready, including one woman who apparently did the visa applications for Casemiro, and it didn't look promising for United in warm-up. But United started fast and with intensity. Casemiro's game plan was evident 25 seconds after coming on.
I might smash into somebody just to make me feel better.
Before Brazilian winger Antony got a goal on his debut.
Antony on his debut! He slots Manchester United into the lead.
Now, Antony, well done on the finish today. Are you happy with your goal? Antony? Bukayo Saka got one back for Arsenal, but Marcus Rashford went crazy in the second half, ending the fixture. He says he cares about children, yet he made 9-year-old Arsenal fans cry across the land.
The children! Oh, the children!
William Saliba's highlights were not too flattering here. Mikel Arteta needed to draw something, and draw it fast. But his sketches were not enough for his Gunners side. Mikel was escorted out of the stadium for calling Erik ten Hag bald in the tunnel. And to be fair, Erik does have an unfair advantage. He doesn't have to worry about washing his hair. That's more time to focus on tactics. Harry Maguire came on in the 80th minute to shore up United's defence, only to get a yellow card 1 minute later.
We're back in it! We're back in it! You know, we're back in it, you twats. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Luke Shaw had to explain to Erik ten Hag why he was struggling to warm up down the touchline.
Because I ain't 14 stone, that's why. I'm 18 stone, I'm heavy. It's hard work.
But it was a good result for United. Arsenal are still top though, so they don't need to break out tie for Arsenal Fan TV just yet.
We mustn't forget that it's been raining.
But it is Arsenal's first big test, and they have failed. We also saw the Merseyside derby this week as Liverpool... Fucking hell, not 2 in 1 week. Yes, I am a somewhat disinterested individual. Liverpool drop points yet again. We're out of the title race, lads. I'm not even going to try and portray this as... This one was a Sidemen crossbar challenge in the first half. Jordan Pickford was on smoke too, which didn't help us. Maybe he's actually grown to normal-sized arms. Neil Maupay missed a sitter as per usual. Meanwhile, this absolutely mental ball spot was spotted in the crowd. That is the stress of supporting Everton all of your life. Jurgen Klopp bringing off Trent Alexander-Arnold 1 minute before he got an FPL clean sheet bonus almost tipped me over the edge. Jurgen Sori was in deep trouble here and turned to Ibrahima Konate to ask him to call Divock Origi and bail us out.
Call anonymous. You call anonymously!
They know me. They know my voice. They'll know me. Please, you gotta do it for me. I'm begging.
All he's got, though, is Darwin Núñez, and he's out here pole dancing. Mo Salah was not best pleased, looking up to try and find the Uruguayan, only to see him Batista bombing James Tarkowski on the centre circle. Now, there was some controversy across the Premier League this week with multiple poor refereeing decisions. So the usual. It started with a last-minute Maxwell Cornet equaliser being ruled out for West Ham for a foul on Edouard Mendy, then no penalty being given for this foul at Crystal Palace on Joe Willock, and then versus Manchester City, Philippe Coutinho had a goal ruled out for being offside despite clearly being on. Declan Rice was not pleased at West Ham.
You can't say too much because if I say what I think I'll get fined, but how can you go over the monitor and call that a foul? Is an absolute disgrace.
It's no surprise really, the VAR room was looking very suspicious over there. The PGMOL, which is like a governing board I guess for referees, have officially apologised to West Ham. Well, I guess that's that wrapped up then. Genuinely though, what is going on in these VAR rooms? Lads, have you seen that Cornet goal? Probably should have let that one stand. Oh yeah mate, now we're talking. Oh, for crying out loud. These lot are watching these decisions on an iPod shuffle. As Southampton and Shea Adams produced the miss of the season in the Premier League against Wolves, Eric Ten Hag was spotted out in public, and the mum that took the picture here was nice and subtle about it. Brendan Rodgers is on the edge at Leicester after a 5-2 loss to Brighton. At least he's got some notes written down for his side. At Tottenham, we've got one kid becoming very hostile to our North London rivals very early on. Ivan Toney scored a hat-trick this weekend against Leeds and hit back at all the managers that had sold him on fantasy football. An Asian couple tied the knot this week and celebrated with Cesc Fabregas shirts. I wonder if he was a common interest on Tinder, because if so, that's another assist for Cesc. At Brentford again, and we've got a fan attempting to bribe a referee during a VAR decision. I love the concept of a ref seeing a tenner and just saying, yep, you know what lads. Meanwhile at Forest, and they completed their summer dealings with a 20-second signing on deadline day. These lot's team bus is going to be out of control. Christmas dinner's going to be nuts, mate. Here's the Forest admin seeing a 58th announcement of the summer. Meanwhile, the song initiations they're going to have to get through. It'll be like Reading and Leeds Festival.
Stuff is weekend on my mean street. My friends don't speak no more.
In Spain now and at Barcelona. We literally have to stop this man. If you're Ousmane Dembele, you're fuming putting a ball into the box, only to see the big pole is severely distracted. Then at Barca, and Marcos Alonso has signed for the club, moving from Chelsea. His drive to his medical was not ideal though. At Eibar, and Luka Zidane, son of Zinedine, has not quite got this goalkeeping business down to a T. You have to actually save the ball, Luka. Meanwhile, at Ibiza, and they announced a new signing, and it's not the first time that Cokes ended up on that island. In France, and there's some interesting seating options at Troyes. Imagine enjoying a jacuzzi as Cristiano Ronaldo steps up for a free kick. And there's a story of Marseille's Bemba Dieng, who was on his way to Leeds on deadline day. He was sat on the runway in a private jet, only to then get an offer from OGC Nice. Now, he decided to snub Leeds while sat on the plane, went to Nice instead, and then failed his medical at the League on side. In Italy, and Roma was spanked 4-0 by Udinese. Paulo Dybala was in disbelief seeing the scoreline on the screen. Meanwhile, Tammy Abraham escaped Chelsea to avoid these sorts of scorelines. Elsewhere in Italy though, and Josip Ilicic has officially left Atalanta. He's been struggling with mental health issues over the last 2 years and got an incredible send-off from the Atalanta fans that he's provided so much joy to over the years. In Germany now, and this poor Bayern fan is physically hurting. Meanwhile, in the lower leagues, we've got a scrap between a referee and the boss of Alemannia Highback, where the boss of the latter got his GCSE drama skills out. Now that it's time for your goals of the week, and we've got some more barnstormers this time. Starting off actually in the Champions League, where Benfica's Alejandro Grimaldo scored this crazy dipping effort against Maccabi Haifa. San Marino's under-19s won maybe for the first time in their entire history, beating Gibraltar's under-19s 4-0 and scored this crazy long-range effort in the process. Meanwhile, over in Serbia and at Red Star Belgrade, Osman Bukhari saw the ball dropping out of the air and volleyed it with all manner of power.
Italija je opasno, 1-0, kakav gol je postigao Bukhari.
In Turkey now, and there were ridiculous scenes at Besiktas where a fan ran onto the pitch during an altercation between players and fly-kicked Wout Weghorst. Let's be honest, it was just a Burnley fan that's aggrieved that he left them. New York Red Bulls' Drew Yearwood was sent off after kicking a ball into the stands and accidentally connecting with a few supporters. The ball struck the face of a young woman. He then went into the crowd to apologise. The rest of them didn't want to hear it. I'd kick it at the faces of US fans as well if I had to deal with their foolishness.
Fight and win!
And elsewhere in the MLS, it was a dramatic week for Chicharito, who was involved in this brutal attack from defenders of Toronto. And it was so bad, it clearly distracted him from taking a competent penalty with this Panenka attempt.
Whoa!
Hello all and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
Direito de ataque, o Alisson Pará ganhou no drible de corpo, chegou o Marcelo, carrinho.
And that concludes The Beautiful Game. In Japan now, we've got the weirdest goal you're going to see this week. Nagoya Grampus beat Avispa 3-2. Now, Nagoya scored after the referee refused to stop play for a head collision between two Avispa players. When getting the ball back, Avispa then equalised when they really should have given the ball back. And they then had to allow Nagoya to run the ball in, and that's the goal you're seeing here. In the world of futsal, and once again, we've got the reminder that as a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout, please don't celebrate too early. There were crazy scenes for Luxembourg's women's side when they're not getting beaten 10-0 by the Lionesses. We've got one of their players scoring a ridiculous goal, then being sent off for a supposedly dangerous celebration just afterwards. In Brazil, and Julio Campos scored the most suspicious goal of the week, receiving it from a goalkeeper and a teammate to then yam the ball into his own net. If you're gonna match fix, lads, please at least make it discreet. Meanwhile, it seems like the regen of Pepe has just dropped.
Go support him. Come out a bit.
Oh, Charlie. Closer to home though now, and Nathan Redmond could be on his way to Turkey and a move to Besiktas. This could be the maddest hair comeback we ever see. At Reading, and their goalkeeper Joe Lumley is trying everything to do a bit of time wasting for a goal kick. At Huddersfield, and goal line technology failed to work with a goal they should have scored against Blackpool not being given despite clearly being over the line. The chip was apparently broken. Were they playing with this football or something? Meanwhile, at Hashtag United, and Greg Halford on his debut scored the most spectacular own goal of the week.
Watson, left foot pass in towards Greg. Oh wow, no. That is a quite spectacular own goal on his debut.
It happens. He's been terrific.
In Poland now, and at Slask Wroclaw, we've got a howler of a back pass finding its way all the way in. In South Africa, and after a penalty was saved here, a fan of the losing side came prepared and just decided to change shirts in the crowd. In Colombia, and we've got one pyrotechnic handler not really qualified for the job. On your CV here, sir, it says, "What's a pyro?" Ah, yeah, no, I was just joking, obviously. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Oh. There was wholesome stuff in Japan, as well-respected referee Nobutsugu Murakami retired from the game and refereed his last match. He was given a guard of honor before one player decided to take his shirt off so the ref could give out one final yellow card. In Bulgaria, and we've got this howler of a mix-up between a goalkeeper and defender. Meanwhile, in Thailand and at Ramong United, we've got one defender accidentally scoring a 90th minute goal from his own half after a goalkeeping mishap.
Partiu.
Put this in FIFA and I'm putting my TV through a window. Meanwhile, in Brazil, and what better way to celebrate in the crowd than smacking a can over your own head? Now that it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, and we have got two glorious stories for this glorious nation this week. First of all, and in the third division, with a pitch severely waterlogged, what's one way you can get moisture off the pitch? Drag a table over it so that you can get the water to the sidelines. Alright, say. Meanwhile, eccentric club owner Gigi Bacali is once again in the news as his side FCSB have banned vaccinated players from signing for the club. So their player pool now consists of Granit Xhaka, in Brazil, and at Paysandu Sport Club, we get yet another goalkeeping howler this week. In Indonesia, yep, they have done it again, and we've got their nation's answer to Neymar.
Kiri, sayap, kiri, Pasuruan. Serangan Pasuruan, songo-songo. Oh, teknik pocong, bro, teknik.
In South Africa, and we've got a sensational warm-up from the little man here. Why are you jumping, bruv? You're not an aerial threat. You're 4 centimeters off the ground, bro. In Brazil, and we've got a referee quite literally shielding the ball from an opponent here. Mate, get him in Liverpool's back line. He's better than Joe Gomez. And at 5-a-side here, we've got the most unique kit that you're gonna find. A printout of a couple.
Guguzinho, tô sentindo que tu não tá muito bem não, hein, meu filho?
Sick. it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. And this time, we've got to focus on refereeing. In a week where the Premier League's refs have been outed as being a shambles across the board, it turns out that Sunday League linesmen aren't much better, with this extremely marginal offside against Turton United. Hey! I mean, did the linesman come to the game with a guide dog or something? On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, at Shepton Mallet, where in the FA Cup preliminary rounds, a keeper playing against them 15 minutes from time for Blackfield was sent off with the game at 0-0 for urinating in a nearby hedge. In Croatia, and Rijeka's new boss, Serzi Kozmi, says that he shows his players pornography for some reason. I don't know why. Is it to motivate them? Is it to improve their finishing capabilities? I really don't know. Restaurant Hooters sparked outrage this week after sponsoring a local under-10s football team in Nottingham. Hooters is obviously known for having waitresses and stuff that don't wear that much, and it's all very raunchy and that. Well, they're sponsoring Burton Joyce Football Club, and they're under-10s, which is a little bit mental. Finally, though, there is the wholesome story of Jay Stansfield coming full circle this week. He's a youngster from Fulham who's out on loan to Exeter, and his dad had once been a legend at Exeter City wearing the number 9 shirt. Now, unfortunately, his dad passed away in 2010, aged only 31, and his number 9 shirt had been retired by the club. Well, his son Jay was signed by the club on loan and came on in their most recent league match wearing his dad's number 9 to keep on the family name at Exeter City. That though is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.